Morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Good.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Curious to hear your thoughts about the proposed rule changes for 2024, specifically the play clock running after every first down.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to shorten the game, I think. They're up to like 3 hours and 20 minutes right now. I'm trying to shorten it a little bit, so that's one way to do it. I think you're going to limit. There's going to be less plays in the game, so less offense in the game. So I don't think they really know what they'll have until you actually see it and implement it. I understand the genesis of it, but I couldn't comment on it because we haven't done it yet, so I don't know how it's really going to truly affect it. Obviously, it will stop in the last 2 minutes, which is how everybody's run their 2-minute drill, knowing that a first down will stop the clock until the chains are set, and then you go again. In the NFL, they do it, but they don't stop it at all. They don't even stop it in the 2-minute situation. So it's kind of a hybrid rule. So we'll see. I don't have a feeling one way or another, whether it's a positive or negative until we get involved in it. So.
Who feels like games are too long? Where's the impetus coming from?
Chase the money. I think chase the money. I don't know who feels like games are too long. So, sometimes I think people think coaches have a real big effect on some of these rule changes, and some of them we don't have really anything to do with that. So they must have gone out of somewhere, and someone had remarked that they're too long. So they're going to change it. So I would imagine it had something to do with the television part of the game. So, because from my understanding, Division III, which isn't really on television, didn't change their rules. So I would imagine it's television generated, to be honest with you.
With Sturdivant and Ford, the last couple of years, at least Sturdivant last year and Ford maybe the last couple, you guys game planned against those guys. Mm-hmm. Is there some stuff to learn from that perspective that is useful in terms of their growth and fitting in here?
Yeah, that's a good question. We did get a chance we actually played J Mike in the last game of the year last year, so got a chance to see him and get a feel for what type of receiver he was, and then when he became available in the transfer portal, he didn't have to watch a whole heck of a lot of tape because we had studied all of his tape leading up into our game. The same thing with Femi. Femi came over from Cal. We played him in the last game of the year, and then a week later he went to portal, and I didn't have to watch the tape of him making 17 tackles in the game against us. I can recall that game from 6 days earlier or 7 days earlier. So it's helpful, when you have a better understanding of who they are and where they're from. I know we were involved with J Mike coming out of high school, but it was during COVID, so I never got a chance to visit. So that kind of, we knew who he was coming out. We obviously knew who because Kyle's a local kid at Orange Lou, that we knew exactly who they were coming out. So we had a better understanding of who they were as players. Yeah, so I think that helped.
Do they complement each other pretty well? You got a field stretcher with J Mike, and you've got a more of a possession strong guy with Kyle, if they're on the field at the same time?
Yeah, I think they would, and I think they've done a really good job of leading, because we do have a little bit of a younger group over there with just really Cam Brown and Logan and coming back, and Josiah Norwood. So there's a lot of youth at that position. So to get some kids that have played a lot of quality snaps, at the Power 5 level is a really big deal. But yeah, they fit in really well, and they're two different kind of pieces, like you said. So I think that's always good. But both those guys have been fantastic since January when they got here. Their work ethic in the off season, they know how to train. They know what we're asking of them, and they understand it because they've been exposed to it at the college level. Sometimes a high school kid coming in, this is all brand new, and they're kind of wide-eyed and kind of trying to figure it out because they've never been through it before. But they had a pretty decent understanding because they've been through it before at other schools. So.
Thanks.
How's the health of the offensive line coming along? I think Spencer, Garrett, and Noah were
Yep.
available last year.
They're all working really hard to get back here quickly. So, they're doing a really good job in the rehab aspect of things. Nothing is long term with any of those guys. The good thing is it just provides more reps for other guys. So, I think everybody's taking advantage of their opportunities when they get them. And you can see guys like Jalen Jeffers and Bruno Fina and guys like that are really progressing because they're taking advantage of those snaps that they're getting.
When you're down a few guys who are starters on the offensive line, does that, impact what you can do in practice in terms of effectiveness of run game or anything like that?
No, I mean, there's always give and take in a practice session, You may have one period and the defense has the upper hand, then you may have another period where the offense has the upper hand. So there's an ebb and a flow that goes through every spring, regardless of who's available at each position. So we've been relatively healthy on the defensive front, and we have more veteran experience coming back on the defensive front than we do on the offensive front. So, but that's really forced our offensive line to kind of step it up, because they know that they're going against some really good players, in Jay and the Murphs and Latu and Carl and those guys. So we've, I think it's been a healthy competition through the spring, and each side makes the other side better. So, we like the situation we're in right now, because I think our young guys are really getting a lot of good experience. So, when you do have an opportunity to get those other guys back, I think we'll be even stronger there.
As far as Titus goes, we've seen him do some more special team stuff lately. Is he going to be a full go participant anytime soon? Or?
He should be. We're, it's just that we're never going to put a kid out there if he's going to re-injure himself. Titus is really close. And I think in the spring we're a little bit more cautious than we are. But he's been sharp. He's been great in every meetings and participating in individual drills. And then we'll continue to work him back into the competitive things against the defensive side.
As far as what you saw last week, you saw, Dante make some throws, especially I want to say that Thursday practice, where he took some shots downfield, seemed to really connect with some receivers. Is there anything he does that makes you think that he's maybe more advanced than your average, freshman already at this stage?
Yeah, I think one thing about the quarterback play, and it doesn't matter what year you're in, I think you have to be a really quick decision maker, and you have to have repetitive accuracy, and he has both. And I think that's the one thing that stood out from the beginning. He may not be able to articulate everything that's gone on in the play call. He's still kind of getting that part down, because it's just new terminology for him, because he came from a decent offense at the high school level that did some decent things with him. So, but he has a real good feel for the game. He's got an intuitive nature of where people are spatially, so I think he can make good decisions. And then the next step for him is just that repetitive accuracy. If he continues to throw a really, really catchable ball that's really located in the right spot. So, but I think that entire group has played really well. I think the entire depth of the room is better than it's ever been. We obviously had a great win at Dorian, who'll get drafted here in the next couple of days. But I think the whole room, with Garbers and Schlee and Chase Griffin and Justin Martin, I think, we feel comfortable with all those guys. And it's good, because competition raises it in everybody. But I think, going back to Dante, his decision making has been really good, and his repetitive accuracy has been outstanding.
Obviously joked last week about naming a starter, but do you have a general philosophy on when you want to get that done? Is there an idea, like we need to have it a week before the game or 2 weeks or whatever?
Yeah, you want to, as you get into the week of the game, whoever is going to play that week, you want to be able to make sure that they get the most reps, but that's really probably the end of it. But most of the time that I've been involved in these in my coaching career, I think they kind of happen organically, and I don't think it's ever really a surprise when you say, hey, we're going to pick Joe as the starter. But really? 90% of them thought it was going to be the other guy. It's usually, I think everybody, after watching it, because of the amount of reps we get in our training sessions, you'll see, kind of the cream rise to the top, so to speak, and one guy, and it's never going to be one guy's at 90% and the other guy's at 10%. It's close, and if we had to pick a starter right now, it would be really close. The good part is we don't, and I think we're all a byproduct of our experiences, so the more reps that they can get, we're in number 10 right now of 15. They'll get a whole off-season program, not a winter program, a summer program, to get a chance to get more familiar with the receivers and what we're doing schematically. And then we got 20 some odd practices in spring in fall camp before we really have to get, who's going to start. But usually right around before that first week, you're going to say, all right, we've decided we're going with this player, or this player is actually, we're not deciding anything. I think it's that player has earned it. And most people will know by the time we get to that point. I think it is.
Cool.
We're good?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.